Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So I have my crystal ball off to the side. I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. And if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do if it doesn't resonate with you. If you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So channel members, we will have a collective message posted later this evening. Definitely check that out. And if you're interested in channel memberships, that link will be in the description box below. Also in the description box is the link to the moon messages on the full moon between myself and I Scribe Steph. So definitely check that out. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead. All right. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. One card for the overall energy. Okay. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is very interesting, right? And if you part of my memberships, if you've gone through the Major Arcana series, we've talked about this. This is really a card representing the goddess Hathor. And at first glance, you can't really tell that. But there's a lot going on here that is actually a composite of elements that make up her symbolism. And one of the things about Hathor is that she basically represents divine order, right? Everything in its right place, in its right time. It's the wheel, the seasons, the change, the fertility, abundance, death, life. All of it is wrapped up inside of her law. And there's something here inside of someone's life that either we've come to a place where I almost feel like king making, right? So it's a moment in our life where we get to decide, does the wheel turn forward or does it turn backwards? When the wheel turns backwards, we go back through the major arcana and go back to certain lessons. When the wheel turns forwards, we get to proceed to the next place. And the Wheel of Fortune is an interesting place because it's one of the first cards where we go from having the major arcana be something internal, or how do I want to say it? Not internal, but where we go from the major arcana being these forces outside of us to understanding that what's actually taking place is that everything is inside of us. So the Wheel of Fortune is a moment where we have a pause. Did you understand that this was actually about you? Or do you still think it was about XYZ, right? So that's someplace where someone is landing. They're starting to take a deeper look at a particular set of ideas or principles or experiences. And there's something here that must have changed, right? In order for the Wheel of Fortune to present itself, we're probably looking at something that's changing currently. The Wheel of Fortune always represents the potential for alchemy, for some sort of moment of alchemy where there's this profound integration of aspects or integration of ideas that previously we didn't necessarily have access to what they result in. This is about somebody's journey. It's about things that we're waiting for, places where we're trying to go, things we're trying to receive. We have the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is the journeyer. He's the explorer. He's somebody who is setting out for an unknown shore. He already knows where that unknown shore is. He decided that in the Two of Wands. And the Three of Wands, he's waiting for the ship to take him there. He's waiting on something. Okay, so here, one of the things that just came through is it's very important to discern what it is that we're waiting for. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he has these three wands. He's selected the wand that he's taking with him. There may have been a moment here or a time here where we had many options. We didn't know exactly how something was going to happen, or we didn't exactly know what it was that we wanted for ourselves. Whatever this is, one of the purposes that it served was to make you very sure of what it is that you actually want inside of your life in terms of an energy. Remember, the wands are energy, right? So it's not necessarily physical things, it's an energy. Okay, we have 10 of Pentacles. This is something that we're trying to manifest now. So this is something that someone may have embarked on, a new social group. Somebody may have, like, for example, entered a new workplace or put themselves on some sort of platform where they can now network. But there seems to be something here about stepping into a new networking opportunity, or because 10 of Pentacles is my manifestation card, or something is about to manifest for someone. I actually think it's either or an and. Okay. Okay, we have the Knight of Cups. Now, the Knight of Cups is psychic information. It's emotional information. A lot of things that are changing here inside of our emotional information, what it is that we think that we wanted, what is even important to us. We may be trying to explore options here in terms of romance. We may be trying to explore different avenues to receive psychic information. We may be trying to, even for some of you, this can indicate astral projection. But there's something here that seems to be very decisive, I'll put it that way. We seem to really have made some sort of decision, and we're moving forward with that decision here. Okay. Okay. There is a lot of energy behind this, and this energy is sometimes fueled, and I'm going to say this just because it is showing up. We do have the Five of Cups. This energy seems to be fueled by this Five of Cups. So Five of Cups is longing, sorrow, regret, disappointment. There may be a disappointment in some area of our life that's actually fueling this entire process. Remember, alchemy happens because of fire, right? That's the one thing that is usually needed, is heat to get a whole process started. It doesn't have to be the thing that makes the entire process work, but it's how a particular process is starting. Now, for some of you, because we have the Three of Wands, after this sort of idea of heat by alchemy by heat, there may have been a departure from something, right? And this departure of something due to this grief is causing us to make some moves. So just be aware of that, because there's a little bit of a reckless energy behind that. One of the things that I'm seeing here also is I'm seeing that there are a lot of varied interests that are starting to carry a person. If you have been stuck in some way in the things that you're interested in or the things that you're trying to build for yourself, this is a time when this is going to start moving for you. And you're going to start noticing that, oh, okay, everything's starting to pick up speed now. There is some sort of anxiety here, though. It may be because something is moving very quickly. There's some sort of anxiety here, and the anxiety is tied to this Fool card. That's the bottom. Oh, interesting. There's like a moment of pause. There's a moment of pause that's coming up for somebody. Okay. Okay, let's see. I don't feel that I'm supposed to move past that. I'm supposed to talk about this right here, this pause. There is some sort of new beginning that we are embarking on, and there's, for some reason, either a release, because a hangman can represent a release, some sort of profound insight that suddenly we get on this entire segment of what's taking place inside of our life, or there's a pause, right? A pause where we're trying to get a different perspective. Let's see what is going on here. So fire might be really important right now. I am going to say that because that fire as a process of alchemy is really standing out to me. Here we have the crone. Now, the crone for me really represents wisdom. This also represents messages from spirit because of that crow energy. There's also something here about protection. So there may be an understanding that's coming through that as we're changing this sort of movement, we're moving quicker through things, that we may need to be a little bit more careful about how we protect ourselves. There is this energy of sudden messages or insights that are coming in. And for some of you, there's a pause because you feel like it's redirecting your path in some way. For others of you, this is just going to be sudden insights or inspiration that make you rethink something that has transpired in here somewhere, and this is going to make you see something. That might be why this anxiety is here for someone. Okay. Okay, we have the womb, we have the box, and we have the desert. Okay, what's going on down here? The temple. Okay. You are currently being asked to open up your own limitations. The limitations of where you think something is heading, the limitations of where you think you're heading, the limitations of what you think you are, right? That's really what's going on here. This is the whole process is trying to take place. I'm setting this out in front of me so that it mirrors kind of the Wheel of Fortune card. That's how I'm being instructed to do it. And right now what's taking place is an alchemical process, right? So whatever has just recently transpired, this was to kick off some sort of alchemical process within you. And what we start off here is something that we've manifested. We have the womb. This is the triangle of manifestation when it points downward. And inside this womb, we have kind of this raw material, this gold, right? This little gold pearl. And there's a lot of this very marching to the beat of our own drum with the magenta, a lot of questions around stability with the red, a lot of this very passionate creative energy with the orange, and personal power with the yellow. So these are all things that may have been wrapped up in whatever just transpired within our life prior to this wheel coming to us now with like this possibility of a change. Here what we see is that there's an insight or a message from spirit, right, with this crone coming down about our box, about our limitations. The interesting thing about the presence of love, and I'm going to say this is the presence of love because that light is pink. When we have this energy of the presence, and because of the green, that's just lots of pink and green here. Whenever we have the presence of love, we as people, we are always in a process of trying to remove that energy from a box, right? That's the whole process of alchemy. It goes back to the Lover's card. That's the first place in the tarot where we really see what the spiritual climb is about. That's why it's the first time that we really see that really big mountain, right? Because that represents the spiritual climb all throughout the major arcana. When we have the Lovers, we have the three primes, the three primes of alchemy, which are also represented here inside of the Wheel of Fortune. Salt, Mercury, and sulfur at the top. And then down here we have dissolution or Aquarius. There is, in other words, liberation, right? We're liberating something. And that's the process that's taking place right now. We're removing more and more layers away from the heart space. This light here, it represents that true universal cosmic love that we're all capable of. But we have all these little identity boxes, all these ego boxes, all the trauma boxes, all the pride boxes, kind of shrouding that light. And we may have had hints of this. We may feel this from time to time. For some people, you may feel that you've never felt this, in which case you may have more boxes around this space. For others of you, you have felt this in profound ways. It's an immensely powerful energy, but we're navigating those boxes, right? The moments when we fall out of alignment with this energy and we get taken by the worry, for example, or moments where we fall out of alignment of that energy and the next thing you know, like we're maybe, I don't even know where to go with that. But you'll know if this resonates with you. We have removed some layer on this box, or we at least have the opportunity to. The question is, can we move the ego and our own pride out of the way to understand that the whole process has nothing to do with anybody else? This has to do with us, right? First and foremost, this has to do with us. And so this brings us into the temple, right? The temple is where we meet ourself. Notice this upward pointing triangle. Here in the womb, we have the downward pointing triangle. This is, in the philosophy of Plato, this represents the triangle of manifestation. Or I should say, Plato-derived esotericism, because it's basically the most subtle energies coming down into the earthly state. If you've taken my manifestation class, when those were available, you'll recognize this. This, however, is the triangle of ascension. This is when the most base, earthly, saturnine things, right? All those constrictions, all those limitations, all those beliefs and stories and narratives and ideas and labels, when these things get more subtle. So it's releasing the earthly to achieve more subtle states. And this brings us into the temple. For somebody, this may be part of the process that you're currently going through. I almost feel that this anxiety is because someone here, there's been such rapid change with that Eight of Wands that you feel a little bit like your sense of identity is shaky. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. This is something that sometimes happens, especially when the alchemical process is taking place is so deep. Here, what we have over here is we have the desert. And the desert really represents emotional dryness. So if, for example, if you're somebody that's alone a lot and you don't necessarily have things that fulfill you in your life at this time, this desert energy is really speaking to that. There's going to be a period coming up here as we're in this sort of standstill where we're understanding where the emotions that we're truly trying to gather for ourselves or where the fulfillment actually lays. And we're reaching our hand through that desert to reach for it. Here it's being symbolized by the moon. However, in this deck, I always see the moon as not just the moon, but it's the moon occluding the sun, right? So it's like this combination of the feminine and masculine energies, which is what we see when we talk about alchemy, right? Whether it's this here, or if it goes back to the Lover's card or the Devil's card, or even, you guys get the gist. When we get to the world or the universe, and it's the cosmic hermaphrodite, right? There is this very beautiful sense here, though, of some sort of healing. So whatever is taking place here for someone, there is some sort of healing that's taking place, particularly inside the solar plexus, right? We may have gone through a situation here where we recently felt like our power was taken in some way. And remember, our power is never actually taken. Our power is usually given away. Not all the time, but usually it's something that we give away, either because of the perspective that we have on the situation or the amount of mistreatment that we allow to take place inside of our lives. There is one more card they want me to pull. Okay, and we have the Anima Mundi. So this is lots of influence, right? When we look at this, this is all the influences of the planets and how they affect us due to their archetypal energies on a deep subconscious level. And then there's all these eyes and these objects that are outside of us. At this time, there's so much going internal that it would actually be wise for someone to block out the external influences, because what's happening here is it feels a little bit like confusion. Someone's starting to get very confused. Sometimes when we're really trying to find the direction and we're really trying to find our answers, the advice is always to close off the information from the outside and to go deep within. Go deep within, go inside of all these influences to the very core, where, if you notice it, this energy exists, and it exists right along what this energy was meant to become, right there. So whoever this message is for, this is actually a very beautiful reading, and I hope this resonates for you. Please hit that like button, and until next time.